and welcome to the new episode of We Talk Talent Series Season 5, the show where we bring you insightful conversations with top HR leaders shaping the future of talent management. Today, we are joined by Rinku Rastogi, Head Talent Acquisition India, Globant. Rinku, welcome, and it's a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you so much, Anmol. It's a pleasure indeed to be part of the session today.
So before we dive into the discussion, I would like to briefly introduce today's speaker to our viewers. Rinku has over 2 decades of experience in talent acquisition and recruitment management across renowned multinational companies like Cognizant, Sapient, and Fidelity. She has consistently excelled in delivering top quality outcomes with challenging timeframes, all the while inspiring and leading teams to achieve organizational objectives. Her innate ability to connect with people and foster growth within her teams has led to significant personal and professional development among those under her guidance. So, starting with my first question, Rinku, the workplace has gone through a lot of changes over the past couple of years. So, how is your industry tackling these changes? If you could share a brief overview with us.
Sure. Thank you so much. I think, as you know, that there has been a significant shift, in demand within the job market, transitioning uh, from a focus on a singular skill to a preference for professionals with a diverse skill set, particularly, in the form of full stack capabilities.
Yeah.
And this change has, can be attributed to a notable reduction in the job opportunities. Of course, there are a lot of job opportunities, but the job opportunities have changed in terms, because what you need now is very, very difficult to find, right? So if you compare that to the previous years, so with the US market experiencing a substantial decrease, right, from over 2 million job openings to mere 700, in such a scenario, where demand is very, very high for niche skill, and the supplies, of course, is not in abundant. So companies are now seeking top tier candidate, essentially, unicorns with a yellow eyes and a blue nose and a yellow tail and whatnot, right? So I think it is becoming very, very difficult to hire and look for that kind of a talent. So recognizing this shift, right, it becomes imperative for us to quickly adapt by upskilling and reskilling our workforce. And so say, like, generally we have a minimum viable skill uh, to be part of any organization. So, right, the minimum viable skill required, what it was required 2 years back, has no longer sufficient in the current scheme of things. So I think changing and adapting is, to the new world, is only the key to success in this kind of a scenario.
So, Rinku, what are some of the most prominent challenges organization in India face to utilize the gig economy at its full potential?
I think gig economy, I think there is a very, very, it's a very, very, uh, what do I say, um, very unstable market right now, right? The biggest
Hmm.
challenge, if you ask me, it's the skill gap, right?
Yeah.
Because we don't have this economy very well mature in India, first of all, and it is very, very difficult to find high-end skill,
Hmm.
in this gig economy, because it relates to diverse pool of talent.
Hmm.
And so I think, organizations need a very, very effective method to assess
Hmm.
such skills of gig workers, and which will match their projects. And one is the skill gap, as I mentioned. And of course, we all know that this is a temporary workforce. They work on project to project basis, so the loyalty and their continuity is again one very, very big challenge for all of us, right? So it is going to be very difficult in developing and stable and reliable talent, right? So that is, according to me, is the second challenge. And last but not the least is the data security and privacy, because you would have to engage these gig workers with the sensitive company information, right? And
mm,
ensuring the security and privacy of data becomes a significant challenge, right? Because
yeah,
especially when working with this external contractors or freelancers who
mm,
may not have the same level of security
yeah,
in place. So
absolutely. So,
some of the major challenges
mm,
which most of the industry face, and that is why if you compare this to the US or globally,
mm,
gig economy is still not so popular, is not having that kind of reliability in India.
mm, yeah, definitely. So, Rinku, in the context of rapidly changing professional landscape and the ongoing evolution of work dynamics, how do you envision the significance of soft skills evolving in the future?
Yeah, I think that's a brilliant question. Everything is now automation, AI, and everything. You can do things through Chat GPT, and but still, softer skills are no longer the communication skills, according to me,
Mm,
right? Because you will need certain softer skills like creativity, uh, maybe emotional intelligence, interpersonal communications, which are not easily automated, right? You can't
mm,
automate these skills. You would still need these skills for a better collaborations. You need these skills for innovation and effective leadership. And if you ask me in Globant, right, because we are always working. It's a Globant is a global company in true sense. Because whatever we do in India, our processes are very very uniform across the globe, right? So working with a global force, so cross cultural communication becomes a very very big soft skill aspect, right? Because say for example, last year I started working with Saudi Arabia and Dubai, so it is very, very important for anybody who work with the global force to understand the cross-cultural communication thing, right? And it's not only, uh, you know,
mm,
to understand, but you need to understand the cultural gaps or differences, and then adapting to that, what is their communication style, and so on and so forth, right? And because we are in the virtual world, in the global setup,
mm,
virtual collaboration is again very very highly valued skill. And of course, again, the customer expectations are evolving. That the business are placing a greater emphasis on providing excellent client
yeah,
experience. So it is not only again softer aspects, softer skills, but it is more about how do you work in ambiguity, right? Because
mm,
you may not have everything black and white. So you need to be able to work to or deal. How do you deal with ambiguity,
mm.
right? And uh, you know what kind of how do you have empathy and listening skills. So those are again very very important skills, which you would require in this kind of a setup. And I think while we work on all the software aspects, I think soft skills related to um, mental health and
Mm,
well-being
mm,
are equally important. And I
yeah,
think we should pay attention to it, that, how do you manage stress, so having stress management, having resilience, and, so these things are also, gaining importance in this scenario.
absolutely. So, as we delve into discussions on the organizational strategies and their adaptation to the evolving employment landscape, I'm particularly interested in gaining insights into your employer branding strategy. Could you elaborate how your approach to employer branding has evolved over the past 2 years?
So I think, branding is something, we don't want to have a push, but more of a pull branding. So,
mm,
so if you go to our Glassdoor and review, so we are a very very employee centric company. So we want to
mm,
stick to it. We have a very very flexible, way of working. So the beauty of Globant is nothing is really imposed or enforced on the candidates, and so our JDs are also, or the branding what we do on different forum is not talking about uh, the technical skill aspects, but it is more
mm,
to talk about what softer skills you would need to perform a certain job. So say for example, today skill set is of course is a tool for you to solve a business problem,
mm,
correct? But
mm,
what you need, what are the software aspects, as I mentioned previously, that you would need. How do you work, uh, how good you are as a fast learner, how good you are as a what kind of flexibility you have, how you can deal with ambiguity. So the focus a lot more on those aspects, and
mm.
focusing focusing a lot on the flexibility that you can, because it's very very purpose driven work, which we highlight during our our branding. What we do, it is more of pull than a push strategy what we have been using, and it has really really worked well for us.
That's really interesting to know. And Rinku, now that the Gen Z is entering the workforce and born into the digital era, they bring a different set of expectation with them. So, what's your take on that, and how do you think that their expectations differ from that of the previous generations?
Yeah, I think that's a good question, and I think we are all dealing this with in our day-to-day life. And of course,
Hmm,
Gen Z are the people who are the junior most people in the organization, and
hmm,
I think the advantage what they have, that they are, as you rightly mentioned, that they are born in the era of digitization, and so they are far more tech savvy than what we were, right? I mean,
hmm,
we don't have to go far. I mean, I have a teenager at home, my son, so I see how different he is. Then, and the thought process itself is so different, because uh, few things, which are very, very different, because they live in the moment, so they really don't think so much that, what is
hmm.
going to happen in the future, but they want to
Yeah.
enjoy the present, and they want to ensure that they're making the most of today, right? And
Hmm,
uh, what is that they are going to get. So I think the longevity is going to be a problem, because their span of attention is really really less, right? I mean, if I talk about the studies, right, that earlier the
hmm,
span of control, or the span of attention of a student would be 15 to 20 minutes, which has gone to now 3 to 6 minutes. So the span of control has really, sorry, span of attention has really changed. So they need to be told what the message is in a very very quick manner. And I think this is a, and that is why you have TikToks, you have reels. So they need, this is a real generation, right? So
yeah.
your storytelling has to be, yeah, very very different. You
Hmm,
really can't bore them by giving them past, present, future. You need to tell what you need to inform in a real way, in a 1 minute this thing, right? So it is become very very different. And I think, as I said, that they are far more clear as to what they want. They are uh, so while they are working, they also want to have fun. So it
hmm,
is not only okay, 9 to 5 job for me. It is that whether I'm getting the satisfaction, whether I feel content. So see, they are very very clear as to what they need. And okay,
hmm,
while I am working, I having fun? Am I having a person purpose driven work? And am I, what I'm deriving out of my work, I mean the flexibility, the work life balance, are are very, very important because, they have very, very enterprising skills. They know one is that, what challenge
Hmm.
I feel that we are going to face, and we are facing that, the longevity, because they're very, very quick, and it's going to be very difficult for for the organization to stick them around unless they really see uh, the value addition to their profiles, that it's no longer okay. um, what you plan for them 2 years down the line, 3 years down the line, but what
Hmm.
are you doing for them right now?
Yeah.
How they are gaining. So I whatever the projects assigned to them, what is in for them. So
Hmm.
the why has become very, very important. Like in our times, we were not so, we were like more, okay, even if we are getting the opportunity to learn, so we will figure out in the process what are our learnings. But the new generation wants to know upfront that, what am I going to get out of it. So the why is very, very important for this new generation. I think
Definitely, totally
has
agree with you.
definitely changed drastically.
Yeah. Yeah. So now that you have been in this HR space for over 2 decades and you have a quite good sum of experience in this space. So can you share some of the most prominent challenges that you face in TA space and what are your strategies to overcome?
Yeah, I think as I mentioned that, it is the challenges have been different with the time changing, right? So as
Mm.
I mentioned that, we are having a lot of demand at skill gap. The skill gap is the biggest challenge, right? So one is, as I mentioned to you earlier, that, it is very, very critical for us to understand that, how uh, we understand uh, the requirements, right? So it is
Yeah.
going back to the basics, right? Because there is a limit to what you can get from the market, right? So
Mm.
uh, how you are responding to the marketing. So sorry, to the market. So understanding the job descriptions thoroughly
Mm.
is very crucial in this environment. So I really feel, as I said, that it is as basic as, while hiring managers often desire candidates with a comprehensive set of skills, but
Mm.
the reality during interviews may reveal that such kind of skill set is not available, right? And
Mm.
what more often than not, that we lose out a lot of time in figuring out that what is available and what is the market reality, because the our customers would need the comprehensive set of skills, but which ideally may not be very, very practical, or you can't produce that talent if that talent is not available in the market, right? So to address the challenge, we have implemented a three-step approach. So it is like, talent mapping of the required skill set.
Yeah.
Second is offering alternative with skill reduction. Offer alternatives is very, very critical, and then providing estimates, what we call it as ETAs. So
Yeah.
talking about the first point, right? So I think talent mapping of required skill, conducting, I mean, I know a lot of us have done a lot of this talent mapping, market intelligence, but it is important to do that as when you get the requirement, right? Rather than just go, okay, uh, saying that, okay, client is or our customer is not going to negotiate and we will just give what is expected. But if the talent is not available in the market, then how
Mm.
are you on the earth is going to solve that problem? So
Yeah.
conducting a detailed talent mapping becomes a key, because this allows us to gauge the feasibility of finding candidates with the exact skill set, as per the job description. And then more often than not, that you would find that though that kind of skill set is not available in the market. So what do? So you need to, so basically recognizing that securing candidate with the exact skill set is going to be challenging. So how do you provide a alternative suggesting a reduction on one or two skill set, because say sometimes the skill set is so weird that it is impossible to have all of that in one candidate, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
This so first of all, you need to see that, okay, if somebody is doing .NET, is on React, is on cloud, he may not know, or Angular, or he may not know, having everything in one candidate is going to be so difficult. So the proactive or the pragmatic approach ensure
Hmm.
that we remain realistic in our expectations and enhance our ability to find suitable candidates. And last but not the least, I think having offering transparent communication regarding the expected time frame for
Hmm.
finding candidates with whatever adjusted skill set. So this proactive step helps managing the expectation, and then okay, today I get a skill set and I know that I'm not going to hire, and I'm just giving, okay, in the pressure I tell them that, okay, I will get this guy in 15 days, where the reality is something else. So then you have to do your plan A and plan B, and then you tell them that if you really want to wait with the skill set you require, you would need 45 days of time. And then if you reduce one or two skill in that, you know,
Hmm.
aligning them with the current market realities and demand dynamics, this is, we can reduce the timelines if we are little negotiable on the skill. So I think navigating the changing landscape, it is crucial, as I mentioned, to revisit
Yeah.
our fundamentals and meticulously analyze the job description rather than just venturing out into the
Hmm.
hiring process, without thoroughly understanding the market. So I think we prioritize methodical approach, and otherwise, it's going to be very difficult to meet the skill gap, because if the demand is very different than what the supply is
Hmm.
showing up, right, or is showing. So then it is more about how do you educate, how do you make sure. One is that, of course, you have to keep upskilling, because if today, if I am in the era of AI, I need to embrace that. But at the same time, it would require certain time. So how do you upskill, reskilling the current workforce? That's one. And also negotiate that, okay, what you're looking at is not available. And then how do we, you know,
Hmm.
upskill one or two skills and hire the remaining skills from the
Yeah.
market. So that approach is going to be really important. And as I said, that the soft skills are something, because the skills are the tools to do the business problem solving.
Yeah.
What we do not negotiate is the soft skills, and the soft skills is more about how good you are as a problem solver. Are you able to see the big picture? Are you
Hmm.
able to work through ambiguity? Because as I say that, things have changed. 2023 has been a very a roller coaster ride for every organization. I believe
Hmm.
that how are you embracing that change is going to be the key, and it is going to be very critical, uh, to have those softer aspects to to
Hmm. Yeah.
embrace this change,
Yeah.
right? So I think
Abs- yeah,
that's what.
absolutely. These are important points to consider, whatever points you have mentioned right now. And thank you so much, Rinku, for sharing your valuable perspective with us today. It's been a pleasure having you on this show. And for our viewers, let's continue to learn and grow together. And don't forget to tune in to the next episode of We Talk Talent series. Have a fantastic day ahead. Thank you.